Welcome back. You're watching the weekend edition of Channel 2 News. Used to finding justice for victims of abuse, one Assistant Attorney General also moonlights as a woman saving animals from the brink of death.
Gandhi said, a society can be judged by how it treats its animals or something like that.
Betsy Weintraub is a prosecutor and an Assistant Attorney General. Part of her work as an AAG is going to neighboring islands and working with their police departments. On the tail end of her trip to Tinian last week, she found this puppy on the brink of death under a picnic table.
I thought she was dead, but I reached down to touch her and she moved a little bit, so I realized she wasn't dead, and that meant a lot of work.
Not willing to leave the puppy behind, she picked her up and took her to her hotel room and tried to clean the small, sick animal.
There were over 100 ticks, and, they're big. It's not like the little tiny ticks you find. They'd been sucking on her for a while.
At that point, Weintraub didn't believe the dog was going to make it.
I spent about 2 hours picking ticks off of her and fleas.
She just wanted to make her as comfortable as possible.
She just kind of laid there. I thought at any time maybe she would die, but it would still be nice for her not to be sucked on, for the last moments of her life.
When Weintraub had done all she could to help the pup, she gave her a name fit for royalty and straight out of a children's book.
I called her Cinderella because she was so dirty, and it was just like a stream of dirt, and I just kept saying, "You're so pretty, you're so pretty, you're a little princess."
Knowing Cinderella only had hours to get serious help, Weintraub brought her back to Saipan and drove straight to Saipan Cares for Animals with the hope they could do something to help keep her alive.
Betsy dropped her off and she was pretty close to dead. She was completely dehydrated and her eyes were sunken in her head.
Realizing she likely had many ailments like worms and tick disease, Beth Plisco, director of Saipan Cares for Animals, was able to give her medicine and treat her.
So each day a little bit better, a tiny bit better.
Plisco has been in this position for a long time, and in her experience, she doesn't often see dogs that are as in bad of shape as Cinderella make it. So she is happy that now, after a week, she is still getting better.
The puppies have a much harder time pulling through this. Older dogs do much better. The little ones like this really don't make it with that many ticks and the worms and everything. So this one was lucky.
Speaking of Weintraub rescuing Cinderella, Plisco says the island and the world need more people like her who are willing to go out of their way to help sick and injured animals.
Betsy will stop her car in the middle of the road and pick up an animal that's been hit or whatever needs to be done, she'll do it, which is really awesome. A lot of people don't go out of their way in their life to see how they can help, and she does.
For Weintraub, it's not out of a sense of duty or to be recognized. She says it's just built in her to help those who can't help themselves.
I think it's just, you see something suffering and that's what you do. I think it's more instinct. I wouldn't be able to walk away from an animal that's suffering, and I believe that we are all responsible for the most vulnerable members of our society. I'm a prosecutor, so, I work with victims. And that's very consistent with doing work with animals, too, because animals are so vulnerable, especially little ones.
To make sure Cinderella is getting the best care possible, Elizabeth Plisco is going above and beyond the call of duty, even taking her home at night to give her extra personal care. And if you think you might be interested in adopting Cinderella, you'll have to wait at least a month until she is out of the danger zone.